Hey, gorgeous people. I am jumping on today. It is Thursday. I don't even know what date it is, but let me just check. The 13th, Thursday the 13th. I am jumping in today to do a training on masculine and feminine energies and how we can use these to help us within the business and just how we can use them to help us identify where we're at in our own personal growth journey. So if you have not heard of masculine and feminine energies, these are universal energies that are embodied by everybody. So we all have some masculine and feminine within us, and we can flow between the two. So there is also 4 quadrants, I guess you could say. There's the healthy masculine and healthy feminine, and there is also the wounded masculine and wounded feminine. And so both of these have, all of these have different traits that can help you identify where you're at. And so I'm going to, I guess I will read them out, have some notes with me. So I'm going to read them out, and I'm just going to go through the different traits and how we can use these to help us, where we can use them within the business, and also how we can use the wounded traits to identify areas that we can work on, and then what we can do to help heal those parts of ourselves. Because life is a continuous journey of healing. So we have the masculine and feminine energies. I think I will first talk about the masculine. So we have the masculine energies. I'll just pop my notes right there so that I can remember. So you probably know some people who would fit into these categories, and I'm not telling you this so that you can go to them and say, you're a wounded this or you're this. This is for your own information, for your own healing journey. And it is interesting to know and be able to really just feel into how these kinds of things affect you and your functionality in everyday life. So a healthy masculine. This person is present without distraction. So this is the kind of person who you can have a conversation with, who is there, who is listening to you, who is paying attention to you, who is actually focused on what you're saying, not waiting for his turn to jump in and answer or solve a question. He is non-judgmental, or she is non-judgmental. This isn't about somebody who is either male or female. This is about somebody embodying this type of energy. I'm just going to let Ash in the chat group. Hey Ash.
Hey Kylie.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I was just talking about the masculine and feminine energies and how we can use our knowledge and understanding of the traits to help us identify areas where we can heal and grow, and also how we can use them to help us be more productive within the business as well, because obviously we can flow between the two, and just that sense of knowing what the traits are of a wounded masculine or feminine can help us dramatically pinpoint things that we actually need to work on as well, which we might not be that aware of. So it's really cool. I really find it really cool. So I was just saying that I'm going to go through the traits and just have a quick talk through what it looks like to be in your healthy masculine. And the healthy masculine obviously isn't a man, but it's a person who's embodying those traits, that healthy masculine energy, which I'm sure you already know. So a healthy masculine is present without distraction. So they're the kind of person who you can talk to and you know that you're being listened to. You know that they are focusing their attention on you to hear what you have to say, not to solve a problem or answer their side of things and put their opinion in. They are non-judgmental, so they are a person who accepts you for who you are and doesn't put labels on you for particular ways of being. So you feel safe in their presence. So obviously those two right there are perfect for us as well in our business of in Juice Plus. And also, I mean, obviously you as a practitioner, you want to be able to listen to somebody, you wanted someone to know that they're being heard as well. So that's like super important traits. I can hear people walking outside. They're committed and powerful, so they're not flaky. If they say they're in, they're in. So you can rely on them. So they also have deep integrity and humbleness. So they're not about the ego and about saying how great they are. Obviously listening to this, it just sounds like a really nice kind of person, someone who you want to hang out with, right? Not someone who's the opposite of all of these traits, which is obviously the wounded side. So another trait is supportive and encouraging, someone who's going to guide you and hold space for you, and see the positive rather than criticizing and judging. Someone who is grounded and of service. So someone who feels safe within themselves to offer what they've got, which is great for us as well in our business if we can embody that feeling of, I think, assuredness, if that's a word, like, so we can know and be stable and grounded in the fact that what we have is of service to other people. It's about not making it about us. It's about making it about who we can help and what lives we can change. And another trait is honest, logical, and accountable. So again, someone who's trustworthy, somebody who sees things as they are. They're not airy-fairy, they're not jumping around, they're not flaky. They will own their part in things, and they will also speak their truth and feel safe in speaking their truth. Hey, Sam. Just going through the masculine traits for a healthy masculine and just talking about how they can be embodied to help us within our business. I'm just going to quickly go through the wounded masculine. So again, this doesn't have to be a man. This is, many women have wounded masculine traits, and knowing what they are is super, super empowering, because then we know what we can work on. So I'll just go through them quickly. So attachment to success. So just being like, oh my God, I have to win. I have to be the best. And getting super upset if you don't get what you want. So I'm sure, like, even me, I'm sure a lot of us have experienced that in the business as well. It's like, we want a promotion. We want to have this many customers. We want to do this. But it's that attachment. Of course we want it, and it's okay to want it, but it's the attachment to the outcome. And then the downfall after that, if we don't achieve it, that can be, problems, make problems. There's the fear of failure, the need to be right and controlling, someone who is aggressive. So, yeah, all of these traits are things that, like, it's a kind of person who you probably wouldn't want to really hang out with. But we can also see these traits in ourselves when we're having conversations with people. If somebody's talking to us about their journey in health and we're trying to tell them what they should be doing or tell them that they're wrong, instead of asking really quality questions, that can also be like a sign that we're trying to, jump in and be controlling and be right, have that authority. Someone who is very critical and judgmental. So seeing the negative side of things instead of lifting someone up and saying, wow, it's really great that that we're having this conversation here because it could lead to, whatever. It's more looking at the negative. Selfish, stuck in the mind, always thinking about, what about this? What about that? Which is very fear-based and can create a lot of anxiety. someone who is not in touch with their emotions. So, they might be quite reactive and living in that fight or flight mode, but not really quite aware of that. And then someone who can also become defensive and attacking. So, even within this, if there are people who, you might have family members who you in the beginning, like I tried to get all of my family to take the products, to join the program and all of that thing. And I did get defensive, they would say to me, what are you doing? This is a scam. And I would say, no, it's not. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, these products are amazing. And so I've definitely been in a lot of those wounded aspects of my feminine. But now it's realizing that dropping into that serves no one, and doing the work around it to realize that what people say has got nothing to do with us, and it's all about them, and we have control of our own inner world. So taking back that power and stepping into the healthy masculine and just really becoming grounded, being having that space of non-judgment is really a way of expanding our own experience in life, because then we don't have to feel all of those associated emotions that come with being in that masculine space, that wounded masculine space. Any questions about the masculine energies? They can be super amazing for doing the work as well. They can be super amazing for doing the connecting, for doing the creating of documents and stuff like that, for organizing, all of that kind of stuff. Like, being present without distraction can also mean being present in your tasks every day, having that structure and routine. That's a healthy masculine. And it doesn't have to be controlling. It can get controlling if we become attached to having it exactly that way we want, but it can be really productive if we can tap into that ability to just laser focused, do a job, get it done, move on to the next. So it's really
that energy.
Hey,
I have some of that energy.
well, I need some of that energy too, definitely.
I'm like, ooh.
Yep. Absolutely. And so then the feminine energies come in, and we'll talk about the healthy feminine as well. And these are amazing for our role too. Like, it's all very, very poignant, whatever that word is, poignant. I'm sure someone can say it better than me, but it is super important for us as working in the health industry to be nurturing and loving and supportive. These are the healthy feminine traits. Being compassionate, being authentic, sharing our story, being able to relate to others and listen to them and create a community, with that space and that heartfelt authenticity. Like, that is super important for us, because not only is it important for us in our personal lives as women, it's important for us in our business as well, because it emulates exactly what we're all about, and it's absolutely magnetic to other people who don't have that in their lives. The healthy feminine has very strong boundaries and is able to ask for what she needs. So, in the business, in this side of things, that's perfect for saying, you know what, I am going to structure my day so that I do my self-care for half an hour in the morning, or I do family time in the evenings. It's blocking your time out. And so that's where you can marry the masculine and feminine together to have that structure, but also those strong boundaries as well. The healthy feminine is also very receptive and confident in herself. So there's not much insecurity there. It is all about being grounded and feeling safe in your body and trusting that you are in exactly the right place at the right time. And this can come up in conversations as well. This can come up now, like on a Zoom call, just trusting that whatever downloads I get, are the right ones for whoever's watching this to hear. Instead of me sitting here being insecure and thinking, what are people thinking of me? Oh my God, I'm going to stuff this up. All of that inner dialogue comes from the wounded feminine, and it's about making it about me. It's ego. It's actually almost like reverse ego, in that it's not looking better than, but feeling less than. And feeling less than is a trait of the ego as well, which it uses to make itself more powerful. So being intuitive and creative, which is absolutely amazing in our business as well, for creating all our amazing resources, our content, and also for knowing how to speak to people, for knowing what questions to ask, for feeling into that relationship and that conversation that we can have with our community and the network that we're building. And also talks about enjoying the process of creativity. So really just feeling into that ability to create magic in the business, manifest things like that, create resources, create friendships, create there's so many things that we can create. It's absolutely limitless. It's not just about, you know, creating a sculpture or being artistic. It's about the spaces that we can create, the feelings that we can create, the relationships that we can create, and the ways that we can connect with people to create that bond and that feeling of connection, which is really especially important in this day and age, I feel, with the disconnect that we kind of have in our communities. You know, like back in the day, it was communities of women would see each other every day. They would have rituals. They would help each other with their babies, you know, on a daily basis. They lived close by. These days we are isolated in our houses, in our little glass houses. And, you know, I feel there's a shift in energy, but I feel it's one of our almost, I would say, I can't think of the word. It's like, I've lost the word. Responsibility. It's a responsibility of mine to cultivate that connection with other women and help other women cultivate that connection with their communities as well. So that's how the healthy feminine can be amazing for our business. And they're the traits that we can identify within ourselves that we already have. Now, the wounded feminine obviously is completely opposite to that. And, you know, you can have bits and pieces of both. It doesn't mean you're all one or all the other. And, you know, some days you might be a little bit in your healthy feminine and your healthy masculine. Other days you might be completely a mishmash. Like, it is very fluid and depending on how you're going every day. But of course, the wounded masculine and feminine feed each other, as do the healthy masculine and feminine. So if you are cultivating a very strong feminine energy and a very strong masculine energy, they're going to grow and grow and grow. But if you're stuck in the wounded masculine and you have many traits in the wounded feminine, that is going to feed itself if you're not aware and mindful of what you're doing. So the wounded feminine, I'm just going to list off some things and I'll talk about how it can relate to the business. Seeking external validation. So always wanting praise, always wanting recognition for what you're doing, always, you know, wanting to be the best and have the accolades and things like that. Feeling insecure. So feeling like, you know, people are thinking this about me, or I'm not good enough, or, you know, it's often just making it about yourself and just feeling unworthy and less than and making it the you show. You know, it's it can be something that we fall into quite easily if we have that that inner child wound of never being recognized and never being validated and always seeking, you know, if we had to perform to be recognized by our parents, if we had to, you know, be great at school to get that praise that we all desire, if we had to, you know, achieve at the sports carnival to get, you know, that attention and that love that we seek, they're things that can cause us as adults to be insecure and to seek that external validation as well. So being manipulative is also a trait. So that would be like, you know, doing certain things to convince people to do what you want. So even in terms of getting customers and team, it can sometimes be a trap to really try and trick somebody into joining the business. If you are desperate for team or customers and you're making it all about you, it can be a trap to fall into that, like really wanting them to join so that you can grow your business. That is actually a wounded feminine trait. And I'm definitely not advocating for that at all. And what I'm saying is that we, in looking for and connecting with like-minded and aligned people, should just be cultivating that relationship and building upon that. And if somebody is not interested in joining the business or becoming a customer, then, you know, hopefully no one is really trying to coerce them into doing it just so that they can build their own business or grow their pay line. So that's just a trait of the unhealthy feminine. So that's, yeah, hopefully no one's doing that. Being stuck in victimhood is one that I'm sure a lot of us have experienced. It's the old poor me syndrome. I don't have enough time. This is too hard. This happened to me, that happened to me. Or, you know, it's easier for her. I've got kids. It's way too hard. I've got, you know, parental responsibilities. I've got washing to do. All the things. And we can all quite easily get stuck in that. But I think it's just a fact of being aware of that and identifying when it can happen, and then stepping back into the healthy feminine and going, wow, okay, how can I create more opportunity here? Instead of looking at what we don't have, what can we create? How can we create our space to be more productive? Being excessively attached, being desperate for love, and that can be in the form of wanting accolades and approval as well. Sacrificing ourselves. So here, this is a very, it's something that a lot of women do, and I feel like it is like in our lineage to be martyrs and to do all the things and to put ourselves last and to feel like we are the ones who have to be there to do all the things, otherwise they won't flow and they won't work properly. And I've definitely done this, and I do still do it sometimes, feeling like I'm the mum, I have to be here, or I'm the wife, I have to cook the dinner, or, you know, it's my job to clean, or, you know, someone else's happiness is more important than mine. So off you go and do your thing. That's fine. I'll look after this, you know, and that is actually a trait of a wounded feminine. And it's because we're not valuing our own happiness and we're putting other people before us. So that is something to really look at. And it can be a limiting belief from our parents. It can be just from society in general, because, you know, for eons, after they burned the witches, we had no power and we were stuck in the kitchen and we were, you know, suppressed. So it's a very historical trait that I think females will continue to have to work on. Some actually don't. Some are very, you know, I know a lot, like quite a few people who are very self-assured and have a lot of self-worth, and will be like, no way, like I'm going overseas, like you've got the kids, or even if there's no kids involved, you know, it can be, I need to move to New York for my career, you can come with me or stay here, like, you know, I'm doing it. And more power to those women, and I would love to, you know, get a part of that, a part of their confidence and their assertiveness. And then the last one, oversharing emotions and having no boundaries. So, which is, you know, can be similar to the martyrdom, where it's like you let everybody walk all over you. You know, you might have something on, but people come over and you're like, oh, you know, I've got this training on, but I'm not going to do it now because there's people here. Or, you know, I'm supposed to be having a customer call, but I can't because, you know, for whatever reason, my kids are here, or this or that. It's like, sometimes it can be easy to go back into victim mode and say, I can't do this because of this, but we need to get creative with our time and our space and our boundaries and work out how we can shift things around that. So in knowing what all of these traits are, it's actually quite empowering, because then we can move into working on them. And things that you can do to work. If you notice, like I've got I've given to Lauren like an outline of all of these traits, and so I think she's going to pretty it up and put it into Empowered Collective beautification mode. So if people are interested, they can grab that and print it out and just have that to be something that just triggers your memory, and to be like, oh wow, you know, this is what I could be working on, and maybe just work on one thing a week or something like that, or just notice when they come up. And the things that you can do to work on them are just, you know, very gentle things like meditation, journaling. You can create affirmations around what traits you're trying to release, you know, by reversing those. You can make them into, if you feel like you are completely like if you find that you're being judgmental of somebody, or you're comparing yourself to them, which is a unhealthy masculine trait, a wounded masculine trait, you can flip that around. And we're, you know, I'm sure everyone knows how to do this, but you can flip it around to be something like, I accept people for who they are, and I know that everybody is on their own journey in this life. You know, you don't have to say, I am not a judgmental person. You can put it in really beautiful words to really evoke that kind of sense of the healthy trait. Yeah. So constant awareness, catching yourself out when you are falling into these things, doing a lot of inner child healing, because a lot of the time when we have these wounded attributes or traits, it's because of unmet needs that we had as a child. And also, you know, limiting beliefs as well, and just belief systems that we've picked up along the way throughout our life. So shining the light on them is an absolute amazing way to take their power away, and then work towards releasing them or rewriting the stories. And yeah, so meditation, journaling, affirmations, inner child healing, a bit of mirror work is always good. You can even use crystals as well. So you can like anchor different traits into different crystals and use them as a reminder for what you're working on. So one of the wounded feminine traits is desperate for love. One of the healthy feminine traits is being loving and supportive. It is also having strong boundaries, asking for what she needs. So a lot of those are tied to self-love and self-worth. And so if you are aware of the traits that you want to shift from and towards, you can anchor those in a crystal just by setting your intention, holding the crystal. And then every time that you carry or touch that crystal, or even think of that crystal, you are infusing yourself with that energy and that awareness, which is just cultivates space for expansion. Yeah. So that's it.
Loved it, Kylie.
Oh,
It was so good.
I don't know how to wrap things up. Sometimes I need to have a bit of a
And we're done.
I say what I want to say and then I'm like, all right, done.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, my only question would be, so if I choose to not be the person who does all of the things,
Mhm.
who does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much you have to trust the other person to rise up or train.
So don't feed the kids until Nick gets home. Like, don't cook dinner.
No, I don't mean like that, but you know,
I know what you mean. I was just laughing because
Yeah.
I was like, I can't not cook
no,
dinner.
I know. Sometimes it's like that. It's like, okay, so
Away once a week, small steps.
keep the washing in the basket for a month and see if anybody else does it.
Trust.
But yeah, like baby steps, honest conversations, finding your flow in getting creative to solve those. So it might be things like batch cooking meals and having them in the freezer so that then you can just pop them out and it's not so much work. Yeah, you stumped me on that one. Sometimes we do have to do a lot, but there are things that we do that we could trust somebody else to do.
Yeah, and I think also like not being so stressed about it as well. Like I know I can get really, in my head of all these things that I have to do. And, often we put so much on our to-do list, and that's that wounded, masculine who thinks that it's like taking that control, of all of the things that you think you're going to get done, but there's no way in hell that you are actually going to.
Yeah.
And it's like that whole, disappointment and everything that arises after that. So it's just, recognizing that and taking some of the pressure off that we put on to ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of it. It's not just doing the task, it's the pressure that we put on ourselves for it to be perfect as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then the resentment that we project onto other people.
Yeah.
For us doing everything, which sometimes is our own creation. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I'll see. I'll check in with Lauren and see how she's going with that document. And yeah, you guys can access that if you want to. And hopefully this has helped somewhat.
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. I hope you all have a beautiful day.
Thanks,
Evening.
Kylie.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Bye.